In tonight's omarvision tutorial, we're going to go over how to have a target punch directly to some place. And we're going to do it using the animation rigging preview package in Unity. So this is an example of what we're going to do in tonight's tutorial. Okay, we have a character and it's playing an animation. It's a fight idle animation that I got from Mixamo. The model, I made it in Blender. And now when I press the punch button, there's 3 blocks here. So the only animation I have is this fight idle. When I press the button to punch, it's just basically placing a target area for it to aim toward, and the punch tries to go to hit that target area. So I could hit the blue, the green, or the red. And to prove to you that these animations aren't pre-canned animations, it doesn't matter where I move, it's still trying to get there. Look at this. He'll even bend over backwards to satisfy me. You see that? So this is what we're going to do in this tutorial. Let's start from scratch. So let's close this out and open up a new project. We'll call the project Punch to Target. Okay, and we'll create it, a 3D project. Now that we have the 3D project, let's add the animation rigging package. The animation rigging package is a preview package. So I'm going to go to project settings and make sure that I have enable preview packages checked. Then I could go to window package manager and I will, wait a minute. Then I will go to the Unity registry packages. These are all the packages that Unity has to offer. And here's the animation rigging preview package and I will install it. Once the package installs, this will change to show these buttons. But the main sign is that right here it says animation rigging in the main menu. So now I have the package and an empty project. Let's start putting some things into the project, like we will put, we'll use a plane as a floor, and it's at 0, 0, 0. And I'll just make it a little bigger. Then let me see, I have a normal texture here. Let me make a material. So these are just some things I'm doing to set up the scene. I'll use that normal, and then I could just put that on there, and it's really big. Let's make it a little bit smaller. Okay, so we have a floor. Now we need the model that we're going to use. So I have that. Fix that now. I have a T-pose model. Okay, and this is an FBX, so I could put him in here. See, it's large, so let's zoom out a little. And then for that model, I have an animation. So let's drag this in. Now the model, I made it in Blender, and the animation, I got that from mixamo.com. All right, so here we have a model. It has bones, and we have an animation for it to play. So the model needs an animation controller, so let's just create one. Okay, we'll just call this the animation controller. Oh, it says new animation. We'll just call it anim controller, and when we open this up, we just want to add, let me just drag it right here so I could add the animation to the animation controller. And by default, we're going to have it play this breathing idle animation. Let me check to make sure that the breathing idle animation is going to play in a loop. Okay, and then press apply. So let's see, here's our model, the humanoid. Let's drag and drop the animation controller on there, which has the breathing idle animation. Okay. And now when I press play, it should play the idle animation for the character. There you go, he's breathing. Things are a little bit dark. Let's brighten them up by doing some global image generate lighting here. Global illumination. And there we go. Now they're more realistically the colors, like white. Ooh, that floor is so white. Let's darken it a little bit. Let's make it look like a gym mat. Okay, so we got the character. We have an animation. And when we press play, it plays the animation. That's great. We're only going to use one animation. Now, one of the things we could do with the animation rigging package is we can add, well, we're not adding. We're going to make the bones visible. So I select my humanoid, and then from animation rigging, I click bone renderer setup. And now you can see the bones. The bones. Make them a little fatter. So there's more benefits to this than just seeing the bones. For example, let me just make this one window. For example, these bones, I could actually click on them to select them. And then they'll highlight in the hierarchy window of the bone I clicked on. So this is the left forearm, and what I'm going to do here is I want to kind of detect where the left hand is, right there. So let's get this ready for animation rigging. Let's actually add a rig setup to the humanoid. Okay, so here's a rig layer. Now in the rig layer, it has a weight, all right? And right now it looks like it appears right here out in the field in the Netherlands. So let me just click my humanoid character and kind of position, copy world placement, and I'm just going to place the rig together with my model. You don't have to do this. It's just that I want everything to be together on the scene. The rig doesn't visually show anything. Now with the rig layer here that I added, I could add some, I'm going to add some constraints is what they're called. So what you do is you kind of right click on the rig and add an empty game object. And I'm going to make a constraint for the left hand. So I'll just name this left hand. And I will put this left hand rig thing, constraint, I'm going to put it there where the hand is. All right, so let's copy that position, copy the world placement, and then select the left hand and paste that position. Okay, there you go. So now to this left hand, we can add a constraint. Constraint is going to be a way that we could control the bones at runtime. Let's see what we got. In the components for animation rigging, I want to use a Chain Ik constraint. So we have a 2-bone Ik constraint, which would do inverse kinematics 2 bones back. But I'm going to use the Chain Ik constraint, so I could use the inverse kinematics all the way down to the spine, so we could really reach out and punch. So I'm going to add a Chain Ik constraint. Now, what does it want? It wants a tip and a root. So for the tip, that's where the Ik is going to begin. So that's going to be my left hand, right there. And then for the root, that's going to be the spine. So that's going to go right there. So if you want to see the spine is this bone right here. So it's going to go from the tip of the hand to the spine that it's going to do inverse kinematics. Now it needs a source object to control where the Ik is going to point to. Target, it needs a target. So let me just right click on the left hand and actually add another empty object. And this is going to be called my target. Okay. And the target, it's basically just a transform. Okay, it could be anything in your scene. I'm having it be this transform, and I'm going to have it show itself on the screen. So right now there is a locate effector showing it, but it's very small. But as you can see, when I make it bigger, you see that X, that's one shape I could use. I could use other shapes. I could use a box. And I'm going to use the box. I'm going to use the box effector and just put it right there as a visible cue to where the target is. All right, so let's go over that. I had the humanoid. I added a rig. Then from the rig, I added an empty game object and added a check Ik constraint component. And then to that, I added an empty game object to be the target. And to make the target visible, I use this here, the shape and the size. So what's going to happen now if I play the animation with this rig and the hand with the target? Let's press play and see what happens. Nothing really. Let's see the scene here. Let me set the camera to this view. Control-Shift-F. Now let's set the left hand to have a target, to use this target that we created. And now let's press play. Now you see the animation's playing, but the left hand is reaching toward that target. Okay? It's reaching toward that red box, and I can move that red box. Oops, that's not, I have to pick the target, sorry. And then I can move that target, and the hand will try to stay with it. See? We're going to use that to our advantage. Now, there is something to note. It's just straight on going to the target. But if I look at the left hand, there's a thing called the weight here, and when the weight is 1, that's 100% toward the target. And if the weight is 0, that's 100% just the animation, or just the natural pose. Okay? So we're going to use that to our advantage to make it look like boom, 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 like we're going to punch something. All right? So let me press stop. And to do this, we're going to have to use a script now. We're up to the step where we need a script. So let's create a script. And we'll call it player to control the player. And we'll drag and drop it onto the humanoid at the top level. Okay, and here we go. First thing in the script that we'll do is we'll just add some movement controls. Okay, let me just gut this stuff out. And public float move speed equals 3.5. And public float turn speed will equal 60. Then we'll have a function, the update, the model behavior update event, and here we'll read float vert equals input dot get axis vertical. These will be our controls to move. Horizontal will equal input dot get axis horizontal. This dot transform dot translate. We'll move forward and backward with this. vector 3 dot forward times vert times move speed, and we multiply by time delta time. Boom, boom. Then to turn, we'll use this dot transform dot rotation will times equal quaternion quaternion dot angle axis. So we'll turn on an axis, and the angle that we'll turn will be the turn speed times horizontal times time delta time. And the axis we'll turn on will be the up axis, okay? Turning left and right. So this should enable our character to move. So let's see if that's working. Let me save the script and go back and try this out. Play. Hello, come on, catch up. Play. So there he is, and I can move back and forth. Now I just noticed something. The target, it is a child of the humanoid, so it kind of moves with the humanoid. Let's take that and bring it outside. Put it right here. Okay, the target. That way when we move, the target doesn't move with it. And let me just try that again. So I can move back, and oh, I can't reach it. And then forth. And I could turn. Okay, good. Let's make something for us to hit. Let's just put 3 things in here. So I'll save. And let's add some things that we are going to actually aim at. So let me add a cube. 1. It's a little tiny cube. Make it a little bigger. Okay, let's put it in position. So we'll have 1 cube here. And let's make this our low cube. And maybe it's too big. Make it a little smaller. Then we'll have another cube, Control D. No, sorry. I just Control D this. And move up. That's going to be the middle. And then we'll make another one to be the high. Okay? So we got, oh God, what did I do? We got low, middle, and high. All right, so we got 3 targets to hit that we can aim towards. Now in the script, we're going to need to basically set that target effector into place so that the weight of the arm could actually go toward that. So in our script, we're going to need some things. Let's see what we need. Let's go back. We're going to need the public, let's see, I need that rig thing. So that's the Unity animations rigging. We need the using statement for that. And then with that, we could have the Chain Ik constraint from our left hand. Okay. That we could set in the inspector. And we're going to need the target that we're going to aim at. We'll set that in the inspector. So let's get those. Sorry about that. Let's get those. See the script update. And there we go. So we need the left hand right here. And we need the target right here. Good. And I guess we're going to need these 3 things here so we could, you know, choose different things to aim at. We're going to need them in our script too. So go back to the script. Public. Transform. Boxes. Okay, this will be an array of 3. Box equals new. Transform. Blah, blah, blah. 3 boxes that we got. Oh, I called it a bix. I called it a box. And then go back here again, and let's define those boxes. So we got the array over here. So we'll have the low. We'll put the low as the last. No, put low over here, mid, and the high box. Okay, good. Now we got all the things from the scene that we need in the script. We got references to. So let's make another method here. Let's do something for the private void start of mono behavior. So when the script starts, it will take the left hand and the weight that's there, we'll have it set to 0, so it's just fully playing the animation. Okay? Then, here in the update, we'll check and see if the user presses a button. If input.getKeyDown, and we'll say it's the Z key. Okay? Keycode.z equals true. Then we will, let's just make it point right at the target. So left hand dot weight will equal 1. And the target, is that what I called it? No, it's lowercase, sorry. We'll set the target dot position equal to box at 0 dot position. Oh, we're gonna have to say a new vector 3 box at 0 dot position dot x comma box at 0 dot position dot y box at 0 dot position dot z. Okay, box at 0. So when I press Z, it should point the hand to the target at the bottom. Let's try that out and press play. Okay, there he is. I'm going to press Z and boom, he's pointing right to the bottom target. All right, that's good. Except we don't want it to happen in an instant. We want it to happen slowly. So it's an animation. Well, not that slowly. So let me just add one. I'm just going to use a region here. And in this region, I'm going to put an enum. Oopsie, pound n region. What? How come I can't remember anything? All right, so let's make an enum. This could be private. Doesn't have to be known outside. Enum. And this will be rig anim mode. I don't know. So it's either going to be off, it's going to be increasing the weight, or it's going to be decreasing the weight. And then privately, we can have a variable. Rig anim mode, and we'll call it mode, equals, by default, it's going to be off. Okay? And what we'll do is when you press the Z key, instead of the weight going directly to 1, we will have the mode equal rig anim mode dot increase, so that the weight will increase. We'll not just set it to 1. And we'll make sure that the weight was 0 when we started. Left hand dot weight equals 0. And something might be wrong. Okay, that's all good. So here's the update. We get the keystrokes, right? This is going to be the punch keys here. And then in the fixed update, we'll do the actual animating and changing of the weight. Fixed update. Here we go. So we'll check the mode. Switch mode. Case that, sorry. Hold on. Okay, switch mode. Boom. Now, case that it is increasing, we are going to move toward the target. Break. If the mode is increasing, then we're going to use math lerp. It slowly changes the value from one value to another. So we will say that the left hand dot weight is going to equal mathf.lerp, the current left hand dot weight, and the value we want to go to is 1, and the speed that we want to move to, I guess that could be our punch speed, times time delta time. All right, I know I just put a variable here. Let's add it up here in the for the inspector window to set, public float, punch speed, and let's try out for the default of a 5, see what happens. Okay, so at a speed of 5, the value of the weight is going to go from where it started to 0 to 1. At some point, it's going to actually reach that value. So let's check for that. So if left hand dot weight is greater than, I don't know, let's say 9.5, then we will just say that the left hand dot weight equals 1. And we'll change the anim mode to go backwards and decrease, which brings us to case anim mode decrease. But before I actually put that in there, let's check to see if this works, that the hand moves toward the target and it moves slowly so we can see it. So I'm going to press play, and then I'm going to press the Z key. And you see, he moves slowly to the target. Good. So it's kind of animated. It's not just a fast, motion. It's not just a switch in the position. So now if rig anim mode is decrease mode, then we're almost going to do everything the same. So let me just copy all of this and just make small changes. So now math flerp is going to go from the weight, which would be a 1, and it's going to go back to 0 at that speed. Now we're going to check to see if the weight has reached 0 or, gotten close to it. So I'll say if it's less than 0.1f. Then if it's less than 0.1f, just make it 0. And set the mode to off because the animation finished. It went out and it went back. Save and let's play. Go back to Unity and let's press play and see that happen. It should go out and go back. Z and go back. Good. And now, you can control the speed. So it can go faster or slower. But now what we're going to do now is set up the other 2 targets. So this part where the update happens, this will be the same. But the thing is we have to set a different target position if you press a different key. So else if input.getKeyDown, keycode.x equals true, we'll go for the mid. Okay, so we can almost copy everything here, except we're going to change the position that we're going toward. So instead of box 0, we're going to go to box 1. 1, 1, and 1. And then again, else if Then we'll go for the third box, which is box 2. 2, 2, 2. All right, save. Now let's see this happen. I know. I don't want to update you right now. All right, here we go. Play. So let's see. I could pick the middle, the high, or the low. I could move further away and still pick them, and he reaches a little bit further. I can get really close, and he does the 3. And I can even turn around, and he does a 3. So you notice he's reaching for the boxes. Let's try to make his face look to where he's reaching for, okay? That's the last thing we'll do. So the face now, we have to first add a constraint. So let's pick the bone there, and that bone is the neck. Let's see if there's another one above it, the head. Okay, so let's pick the head. That's going to be what we're going to add a constraint for. So under the rig, create empty, and I'll just call this head. And what did I do? I pressed the wrong key. Let's call it head. All right. And then for the head, let's add a constraint. Of course, let's also put the head where the head is. Right now it's down here. So where did my head go? Right here. Let's copy the position. Hello, come on now. Copy that. And then we'll put the head there. Place that. Boom. Now the head's up there. Now let's add the constraint. Animation rigging. Is there an aim constraint? We're going to aim where the head's looking. So there's a multi-aim constraint. So I'll select that. The constrained object is the head. So let's pick the head and put it there. And the source object is going to be the target, which we already have made. So I'll just drag the target and put it there. Okay. And let me save those changes. And now let's go back into the script, because when we press the keys to aim at something, we're going to also add something for the head. We're going to have a variable for the head. Public, what was it called? Multi-aim constraint. There we go. And we'll call it head equals no. You know, we need that for the weight, so we could change the weight. So let's go back over here for a second and set that to the script. Humanoid head. Here is the constraint. Let's put it right there. Head. Now the script knows about it. So when the game starts, let's say head.weight equals 0, just to make sure that the head's not pointing anywhere but where it was naturally pointing. And then over here in the punching, let's not animate the head turning. Let's just have it turn, period. So we'll say head.weight equals 1. Boom, if you press a key. So we'll do that whenever you press any of the targets. The head will just look right at it. Okay. Now, when does the head go back to its natural position? It would be after our animation finished, after the weight decreased all the way. Right here, we're going to have the head.weight go back to 0. All right, so this should do it. This should have the head turn when it punches and then stop turning when it finishes punching. Let's check it out. Here we go. And I press play. All right, let's go for the bottom. And take a look at the head. Let me maybe turn so you can see that nose light. And yep, it does look like he's looking where he's going. Yes, you see how he's turning his head? So that looks a little bit more natural. Cool. So this concludes this tutorial. If you have any questions, you could ask them of me in the comments. And if you would like the source code and the models and everything for this tutorial, you could go to omarvision.com on the tutorials page, and there's where it has the videos and the source code. Thank you very much, guys. See you next time. You made it to the end of the video. I'm so proud of you. This is my website. The main thing I want to show you is that for any of these videos that you've seen on YouTube, I have the tutorial section, which has the blue links for the projects, and the orange links are the files. Also, you could go over here and play some of the games we made in the game camp.